So, big announcement today that they're making a new Blair Witch Project and it's officially hitting theaters September 24th, 2027. And on paper, it seems like they're doing everything right to appease horror film fans. They tapped a indie YouTube prodigy, Dylan Clark, who made the horror short film Portrait of God, to write and direct. They even brought back the original creators, Eduardo Sanchez and Daniel Myrick, alongside original stars Joshua Leonard and Michael C. Williams to executive produce. But beneath the surface, this announcement just highlights the frustrating trend in modern Hollywood. Executives are looking at recent internet-born horror sensations like Kane Parsons' Backrooms and Curry Barker's Obsession and taking away completely the wrong lesson. So with all the money those movies made, Hollywood is obsessed now with the YouTube to Hollywood pipeline, which I knew they would. Every time a movie makes a shitload of money, they always take the wrong lesson. Just like with Barbie, they thought He-Man was going to be a hit. It wasn't. I liked it, but it wasn't a hit. And now we're going to get a lot more of these Mattel films coming out. But if I bring it back to this, so like when Obsession and Backrooms blew up, executives realized that Gen Z internet creators have a direct line to what actually terrifies modern audiences and brings young kids to the theater. But you have to ask yourself, why did those creators succeed? It wasn't because they were executing existing corporate intellectual property. It's because they possess raw, unfiltered originality. They built these massive, passionate followings by creating something completely fresh outside the studio system. So plugging an internet auteur like Dylan Clark into a 28-year-old legacy franchise feels less like celebrating his talent and more like a corporate shield. It's an attempt to buy internet street cred to justify resurrecting an IP that has historically resisted every single attempt at a continuation. I mean, they kind of need to stop because the original 1999 Blair Witch Project was absolute lightning in a bottle. It succeeded because of its unique place and time. It was the dawn of the consumer internet. It had brilliantly deceptive viral marketing campaign. And the culture that was still naive enough to wonder, is this real? You cannot replicate that environment. I mean, history has shown us every time Hollywood tries to return to the Black Hills woods, the franchise collapses under its own weight every time. I mean, let's look at Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2, and 2000. It was like rushed out 1 year after the original. Artisan Entertainment completely panicked. And they just abandoned the found footage format entirely. And they heavily re-edited director Joe Berlinger's film. Added like generic gore and new metal soundtrack. I actually need to rewatch that, I think. And turned it into like a meta-psychological mess. And just completely misunderstood why people loved the first one. Then we had Blair Witch 2016. That was 10 years ago. That was directed by Adam Wingard. This was like a direct sequel masquerading under the secret production title The Woods. It tried to modernize the concept with like drones and earpiece cameras and slick tech. But instead of the quiet, creeping dread of the original, it relied on a deafeningly loud studio jump scares and literal monster-chasing characters through the house. It felt like a generic theme park ride instead of an intimate nightmare, like the original. So what do we actually know about this 2027 project? I mean, not much, really. But we do have some massive clues based on the behind-the-scenes drama and lore, maybe. So let's get into that. The original actor Michael C. Williams has already stated that this new film is not a remake. And what's fascinating is that Williams and Joshua Leonard are serving as executive producers, which is a massive shift after years of fractured relationships regarding compensation and likeness rights. However, the original star, Heather Donahue, now known as Rei Hance, publicly stated she turned down the project due to the concerns over her long-term identity rights and autonomy. Because of this, it is highly unlikely we're getting a direct continuation featuring the exact same trio. But the internet community of Blair Witch, there's like swirling like two primary story theories based on the franchise's existing lore. So let's just take a look at that. So there's a time loop and spatial distortion theory. The 2016 film confirmed that the Black Hills woods don't just trap you spatially, they trap you in time. Night lasts forever, and characters hear past or future versions of themselves. Fans speculate Dylan Clark might lean heavily into the reality-bending cosmic horror approach, where a new group encounters the echoes and physical remnants of the 1999 crew trapped in a permanent temporal loop. There's also the invisible manipulator theory, a classic theory that suggests the witch isn't a physical hag with a stick body. It's a localized ancient force that corrupts human minds. In the original, the characters might have been driven mad by the woods until they turned on each other, just like the historical hermit Rustin Parr, who murdered children in the 1940s because the voices told him to. Given Clark's phenomenal work exploring the visual and terrifying nature of the unseen and Portrait of God, a psychological story about a malevolent force driving people to madness feels incredibly on brand for him. So that's another possibility. I don't want to completely discount Dylan Clark. I mean, if you're going to tap anyone to give you a atmospheric slow burn horror, I think he's a pretty good pick. But the question isn't if he's talented enough, it's whether Hollywood will actually let him make an uncompromising, terrifying film, or if corporate IP constraints will drag another great director down into the Burkittsville mud. But let me know what you think. Is this project finally going to break the Blair Witch sequel curse, or should Hollywood leave the stick figures in the woods? Let me know down in the comments below. I occasionally do like these announcement videos, so if you want to see more of these videos, give me a like and maybe subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.